It's 7 o'clock here in Buffalo. Mayor Ryan's pick for the new Buffalo Police Commissioner is outlining her priorities and vision for the city if she is confirmed. And a dramatic scene in Rochester, glass and debris all over a street and front lawn after a house suddenly explodes. Plus, the playoff excitement is contagious now. Sabres fans are rushing to get their hands on new vintage and even misspelled merchandise.
Live from 2 on your side, this is Buffalo Nightly News.
Those stories in a moment, but first tonight, a breaking situation in Amherst. Hopkins Road is now closed between Sheridan Drive and Maple Road as police investigate a crash there. At this hour, we are still waiting to learn more about the accident itself, if anyone was hurt or how bad. Anyone with any information, we're told, about this crash is asked to contact Amherst Police. Well, tonight, the Buffalo community is learning more about the likely new police commissioner and her plans to make the city safer. Good evening. I'm Scott Levin. Mary Alice is off tonight. Mayor Sean Ryan's pick for the role met with the media today, outlining some of her priorities if she is confirmed by the Common Council. Tonya Side's Nate Benson spoke with Erica Shields today about her vision for the Buffalo Police Department just a short while ago. And Nate, what is the latest?
Yeah, good evening, Scott. The mayor's pick for police commissioner spoke to the media for nearly a half hour and answered a wide range of questions, including Buffalo police overtime. One of the big concerns for city lawmakers has been overtime incurred by the police department in recent years. Current projections suggest that overtime could reach $16 million by the end of the current fiscal year. I asked Erica Shields how this could be reined in and whether or not the police department is understaffed or rank and file police officers are simply taking overtime opportunities as they become available.
I've had in one ear folks saying we're understaffed. I've had on the other ear saying we're bound by contract and we're having to pay for things we shouldn't have to pay for. The reality of it is I don't know at this point. I'm sure the truth is somewhere in the middle, and my goal is to identify those areas where we can rein in spending. We don't want to be a burden on the city's finances.
Shields says that she has spent the last week meeting with community groups, block clubs, clergy, and union officials to try and get a grasp on some of the issues that are concerning the city residents and the Buffalo Police Department. Right now, there is substantial support for Erica Shields to be appointed as commissioner, but not unanimous support in the Common Council. Coming up at 11, I'll dig into that a little bit more. On your side, Nate Benson, Channel 2 News.
Thank you, Nate. Also new tonight on Buffalo Nightly News, we are hearing from the family of Nurul Amin Shah Alam. He is the Buffalo refugee who died back in February after Border Patrol took him from the county holding center to a Black Rock Tim Hortons. In the last hour, the family spoke for the second time since Shah Alam's death, talking about ways the community and local officials can offer support moving forward.
We are asking for guidance because we understand there's so many help that is available, but we don't know how to get access to it. So if you guys have any way or any opportunity or any help that you guys can guide us, it would be great.
Cheektowaga police are investigating after a man was stabbed inside of his own home. Police say this happened last night around 5 o'clock. It was on Cherrywood Drive. We're told the man is still in the hospital recovering from his injuries. Police have not released the victim's name or age yet. They did say the suspect and victim know each other, but no arrests have been made at this hour. 2 women are facing assault charges tonight after a fight over the weekend outside the Walden Galleria. Cheektowaga police told 2 on your side that they first got calls just after 11 p.m. Sunday night of people fighting outside the Aloha Crab restaurant. When officers arrived, they apparently saw about 100 people in the parking lot, but the fighting seemed to have stopped. A woman then told police that she was assaulted by 2 other women who were found inside the restaurant and then arrested. Pyramid Management, the group that owns and operates the mall, tells us that this all stemmed from what it calls an unauthorized private event after the mall had closed. Over in Rochester now, crews are beginning to demolish a home on Lake Avenue right near Augustine Street after it exploded. Investigators say they don't know exactly what caused the explosion yet or if anyone was inside. This was the scene around 12:30 this afternoon. Crews arrived to the scene to find lots of smoke and piles of wood. One neighbor, Chris Hirsch, said that he was sleeping when he heard what sounded like a car hitting a house. When he went outside, he saw glass and debris all over the yards and the street.
We started walking over there and we started yelling to see if anybody was inside. We didn't hear anything, and then a fire started in the middle of the living room.
According to Hirsch, the owner of the house lives out of state. Firefighters say they heard reports that people escaped the house, but they are still unsure if anyone was left in.
Initially, someone called, they reported it. It's kind of confusing because coming in, you expect to see a big ball of fire, but oftentimes it's even hard to understand what you're actually even looking at. If you could take a look, it almost looks like there's a peak on top of the structure there, but that's actually the third floor that actually buckled and is forming some sort of a peak over there.
Around 80 first responders were at the scene assisting. All right, turning to the weather right now, some heavy rain has moved through parts of the southern tier in northern Pennsylvania, but they have now calmed down. Here's a live look now in Salamanca. There's some more rain coming our way tonight, however. Storm Team 2 meteorologist Dan Russell is up on the roof for us tonight. He has the latest on the forecast. What about that weather impact alert that was issued? Is that still in effect tonight?
Yeah, Scott, we had that weather impact alert. We knew it was going to run through about 7 o'clock before that activity moved out of the viewing area, and it has done exactly that. So for the most part, everyone is now enjoying a beautiful April evening. In fact, here's the latest radar showing again that line that developed this afternoon across the southern tier, and then now quickly racing out of here. Just a couple leftover showers now towards southern McKean and Potter counties, and even that activity, it's going to be long gone here over the next, say, 15-20 minutes. Notice, though, as we travel towards the western Great Lakes, we are tracking some more showers and storms into Wisconsin and Iowa. That is some of the energy that will arrive here with a batch of showers and storms well after midnight tonight. So keep that in mind during the overnight. Don't be surprised if you get awoken a little early before your typical morning alarm clock. Temperatures right now, of course, unseasonably warm. Even right now, we are still sitting at 67 at the airport in Buffalo, and many spots, especially up towards that Route 104 corridor, the Route 31 corridor, still around 70 degrees from Niagara Falls to Lockport, Medina, Albion. Again, a beautiful April evening. So take a look at your weather headlines. We are tracking that next round of showers and storms roughly around 3-4 a.m. That clears out, and then much of tomorrow will also be dry. It's late. We'll have another batch, and then a shot of some cooler weather as we head towards the weekend. I'll have all those details with the 7-day coming up in just a little bit. Scott?
Thanks, Dan. And a former Western New York business manager is going to be paying tens of thousands of dollars in restitution after he pled guilty to stealing from 2 Buffalo diocese parishes. Prosecutors say 63-year-old Keith Call admitted to taking more than $82,000 while working for churches in Swarmville and Williamsville. Authorities say that he made unauthorized purchases, diverted fundraising cash, and even used a gas card without permission. An audit revealed the second theft, where investigators say he wrote checks to himself. Call also faces up to 4 years in prison when he is sentenced in May. Well, a treasured cross stolen early this week from a southern tier church has been recovered now and returned to its rightful place. Channel 2's Dave McKinley has more tonight about what actually happened at St. Luke's Episcopal down in Jamestown.
Inside St. Luke's Episcopal on North Main Street, this 2-foot-high bronze cross gifted to the church in honor of a rector here 140 years ago was more than a religious symbol.
They're a lived embodiment of people's history and their work and their ministry and their lives.
But on Easter Sunday,
it goes missing. Yeah.
Shazam.
Yeah.
Gone.
Gone, exactly.
They reported the theft to the Jamestown police.
They said, "What do you think they're going to do with it?" I said, "I don't know. You're the cops. You tell me." I thought, well, maybe someone thought having this cross would be a talisman for them.
Oh, that's a symbol of some sort that someone believes has the power to ward off harm or evil. Your immediate question might be, how could someone stoop so low as to swipe a cross from a church? But as a man of the cloth, his question was instead,
what do they need? This really isn't about us. It's always about something greater than us. And understanding where people are coming from is my line of work.
They reviewed footage from a security camera and noticed a man who was not familiar to them, but he was to police, as someone who lived mostly on the streets, and they knew where to find him.
So they came back this morning about 9:35 and called me and said, we're here, we've got it.
Damaged, but not beyond repair, much like a lost soul. So this part of the story may not surprise you.
We are not interested in prosecuting anybody because
Why?
For us, it's about grace. The police officers told me that when they talked to him, he said, yep, I'm going to come by and apologize. I look forward to meeting the individual and really to help him be aware that we forgive him and that we can helpfully create a greater sense of community here so that we don't have to end up, taking things that aren't ours. So they have this sense of self and a sense of that they matter more than stuff.
On your side in Jamestown, Dave McKinley, Channel 2 News.
Thank you, Dave. And Mount Calvary Cemetery in Cheektowaga is expanding to meet the growing demand for cremation services. Officials broke ground today on a new all-glass niche complex, the first of 4 buildings planned for the Garden of Evangelists. The first structure, called St. Matthew, will feature hundreds of glass front niches from cremated remains with additional options in marble and granite. Cemetery leaders say the project is designed to create a modern, reflective space next to the historic bell tower.
In New York State, cremation is chosen 62% of all deaths. And with that shift comes a responsibility to adapt, a responsibility to remain relevant, and most importantly, a responsibility to serve families in a way that still feels meaningful.
The full complex will include landscaped gardens and walkways, with construction on the first building expected to wrap up by early summertime. Well, a Buffalo Common Council member is pushing to shake up city housing auctions now. A new resolution could actually change who gets the chance to buy all those properties. That's where we begin tonight's Nightly Briefing.
I'm Melissa Clausell in Buffalo. Common Council member Rashid Wyatt introduced a resolution to council today calling for safeguards as the city prepares to sell thousands of city-owned and vacant properties. Wyatt says the resolution is to ensure that residents also have a chance to buy into their neighborhoods and communities.
The Firefighters Association of the state of New York is trying to pump up recruiting with volunteers. The total number across the state at a 40-year low. They've pushed for increased tax credits for firefighters. That is not in this year's state budget, but they say they will continue advocating for it like they have for the past decade.
I'm Kelly Dudzik in Buffalo. Starting Saturday, most employers or potential employers will no longer be allowed to use your credit history when they're considering employment situations for you. This will mean New York State will become the 11th state with laws on the books like this. New York City has already had a law like this in place since 2015.
And coming up on Buffalo Nightly News, a Red Cross campaign aims to reduce house fires and the injuries that they cause. How you can have free smoke detectors put in your home and educate your family on fire safety. And the Buffalo Niagara Waterkeeper is making fishing accessible for all Western New Yorkers. We're going to show you the latest project coming up after the break. Well, volunteers with the American Red Cross are kicking off their annual Sound the Alarm campaign. Today they visited homes throughout the city of Buffalo to install free smoke alarms and teach people about fire safety. The goal is to reduce house fires and any injuries or deaths that they cause by helping families establish fire emergency escape plans.
It is extremely important because when you have that exit drill and you have the plan, 2 things happens. You save the occupants' lives that are in that home. Also, you're saving lives of the fire corps because they can focus on suppression and not evacuation.
So if you are interested in having a smoke alarm installed, just go to redcross.org. Buffalo Niagara Waterkeeper is expanding access to Western New York waterways with a newly enhanced Buffalo Blueway site in West Seneca. The improvements at the Harlem Road fishing access site include the region's second ADA accessible fishing pier, along with new pathways, a paddle launch, even shoreline enhancements.
Whether you have limited mobility or not, you have a right to have access to these public trust resources. Western New York's natural resources should be accessible to everybody, so everyone can also be inspired to be the stewards of our waterways and protect our environment.
And the site, of course, is a popular fishing spot stocked with steelhead each spring and home to species like smallmouth bass.